Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a quick session here on the Saturday night stream. I wasn't going to make this originally, but I kind of, out of whim, just kind of decided to get on here and kind of voice a few things that have been on my mind for the last few days. Personally, I kind of think right now with COVID-19 business that here in Wisconsin, I don't know about Milwaukee or Madison. Personally, I kind of think that they should just let them do their protest, and because basically, why take everybody's rights away personally? And I think that the churches could probably reopen too, because I was talking to some people the other day over the phone, and they're quite agitated that a lot of the churches are closed. And I'm personally myself, I'm kind of agitated that they can't be open, but yet a liquor store is a necessity. I don't get that. How could a liquor store be a necessity but not a church? It's like Walmart. That's not a necessity. That's just a rip-off box store chain that I was in there the other day, and they're getting all huffy and puffy, and they're all crying, and they're all sitting there blubbering, and I'm thinking, you tell them quit living in fear. Everything will be all right. And then they're sitting there crying, going, "No, it's never going to be all right." And I'm thinking, oh, come on, get over it. Quit your blubbering and crying, and quit living in fear. That's basically the whole kit and caboodle here is with this COVID-19 business. Everybody, basically, world order wants you to live in fear. They want you to give your rights up. They want you to stop going to church and just lose hope in humanity. But bottom line, you can't give up. You have to stay strong. You have to fight this. Eventually, we will. Even though the economy is not perfect right now, but you just have to make the best of things right now. True, most businesses closed. Apparently, my computer cannot keep up with the stream. It's been kind of glitching out for the last year since I've had it set up here, but there's not a lot I can do about that. But basically, even though Trump wants all the states to open up, but a lot of the states have Democratic senators, and in a way, they're sitting there dragging their feet on open or allowing the businesses to be. The only states I don't really feel sorry for is California or New York, because there's so much going on there. A lot of anti-religious stuff. In my feelings, is that's I don't really have sympathy for, because they do a lot of. They call themselves good religious people there, but all their goofy festivals that they have and all their movements and stuff that's anti-Christ. Sometimes you ever sit down and think about, why does California get so many forest fires? Why do they have so many tsunamis? Why do they have a lot of shootings and a lot of violence, and they always get a lot of illnesses? And sometimes areas where they disobey God and they disobey a lot of his sins, and it's even like New York. Well, apparently my live stream got disconnected, but seems to be back on now. Well, like I was saying, it's like New York. There's a lot of controversy with. They don't receive a lot of major weather results, but there's a lot of illnesses that break out. But it's a bigger city, so I can see that. You got so many people running around. You got so many people flying in and out from other countries, like from Asia, Europe, Africa. That's basically a lot of times you have layover flights there. So I can see where a lot of that contagion spreads. And it doesn't help when you got vermin running around out in the streets like rats and mice carrying plagues and diseases, and when you don't have sanitary and you don't keep things properly cleaned, that's where you have a lot of problems as well. But basically, I guess you could say Wisconsin and Manitowoc County were kind of lucky because we don't get a lot of tragic disasters. We do get tornadoes in that, but due to the geographical location of the land between Valders and Grims, and because in a way I believe that the quarry in Valders is what diverts the tornado through Whitelaw and those surrounding areas. In any area that there's like a lake or there's, because I know St. Nazianz usually gets hit really bad when they get violent weather, but worst we've usually gotten here is straight winds. But that's the worst that happens, or minor flooding. You can't really complain. A lot of the problem here that people have always commented on was the storm sewer systems always plug up. But even though Highway 10 redid all their culverts and all their sewers and their drains and draining system, it doesn't really work any better than it did before. It still plugs up, and there's still debris that builds up, and so in a way that was kind of all for naught. That wasn't Whitelaw that decided. That was the state. That was during, I think that was before Evers got in the office. I think that was during Walker's administration. But at least we got a new highway out of, or nice new or smooth highway and travel on instead of all bumpy and all tore up and stuff like that. So can't really complain there. But the only streets that are really busted up are the ones that the co-op uses. There's a co-op that's just a little, like about a block and a half from here. A lot of the farmers in the area bring their grain and corn and get it dried and stored there for the time being. And the Oak Street is, I would say that street's pretty much end of life. Lincoln Street and then Pine Street's pretty much coming to end of life. So eventually they'll have to. But usually when you do streets and that, it gets very expensive. Usually most people, depending on how much land you have, out of women, you're probably talking about 7,000 to 8,000 per person on the street. Now if you have like a corner lot, you're probably talking between 9,000 to 10,000. But it might even go up because of the economy, and even though that gas is very dirt cheap, especially in the Whitelaw area right now, where it's only like 99 cents. But I don't know how long it's going to stay like that. And hopefully we don't go into a recession. But I know a lot of the local businesses here, like the bars and the country store and some of the other stuff that we have here, it's pretty much come to a screeching halt. even this place, I haven't seen anybody in the last week. I haven't made any money here. I'm kind of back in the red again. So I guess that's expected during this time. But I guess you can blame the government for that problem. I'm not talking the right hand. I'm talking the left hand. I know that they're all worried about this fake pandemic that's supposed to be terrible and that's never been seen before. But I was talking to somebody the other day, back in, I think that was either 94 or 95. Maybe that was year 1996, that somebody had similar symptoms to what was going on right now, where they had a hard time breathing. Their lungs were all filled with liquid and stuff like that. And they were contagious. I don't believe that this is COVID-19 is new. I don't think it is. I think it's been around before, but just in different forms. And a lot of people have been overreacting. Even some of the parishioners of the congregation I belong to, they're like, "Aren't you scared? Shouldn't you be upset? Shouldn't you be terrified and frightened?" I'm like, "No. If you got faith in Jesus Christ, what's the point of being afraid?" And they look at you like you're completely crazy for saying something like that. But basically, the government, they want to brainwash you to think that way. They just want you to drop going to church, drop having hope, and just become Nimrods that sit on a couch all day watching mind-controlled TV, where they just sit and repeat the same stuff over and over and tell you false news that's not really watching it. I watch news. I watch it through that one church down in Florida, the Dr. Rodney Brown or something. Usually, he's always got pretty accurate information, because he left a link in one of his videos about the Rockefeller Foundation and telling what was really going on. And I should have left the link and should have made a description on this live feed of how you could find that information. But all you gotta do is look for Dr. Rodney. I got my other computer here real quick. As I pull up that Florida church real quick here, and all right. And this guy is not an actual medical doctor. He just happened to have his PhD. He's a pastor of a mega church. It's called the Revival Ministry International. I'll go into the website here. It's Hillsborough County reverses and recognizes churches as an essential. But the thing that's not everybody's going to want to watch or believe everything that he says, but he doesn't make up stuff either. He's got a huge network of connections that you can find out a lot of information. And if it wasn't for watching his video on, I didn't find it through his YouTube site personally. I found that through Gabe the Street Preacher, and it was actually, so let me, yeah, Dr. Brown, he probably does about 2 or 3 live streams a day. And you can also go to his website, ministry, about the river, service times, location. He's also got a Spanish section, TV broadcast office, what we believe. Tell you what, we'll go to his YouTube channel. I'm not going to play it for you, but personally, if you want to find out more about Dr. Brown, you're more than welcome to go onto his site. Okay. Well, first I got to go through Gabe, the Street Preacher. And so the video is called Pastor Arrested for Having Church Antichrist Spirit Rising. And that's on Gabe the Street Preacher. And basically in that video, it describes a lot of, well, for the first couple of weeks when this all became public and before stuff started getting shut down, everybody was on a frenzy to get toilet paper. Everybody was getting all frantic about getting disinfectants, hand sanitizer, wipes, all paper products. And now the store still has their signs on everything saying 2 per customer only, or 1 per customer, or 5 maximum. And the thing is, people were for a while they're so greedy, and I'm thinking, come on. But sad thing is, a lot of people are also living in fear, and they're surrendering their freedoms. And there's a lot of dumb people out there, I hate to say that, but that just won't acknowledge that this is the plan of the government, of the world order to overthrow even the United States government. They're trying to do. They're trying to make one world religion, one world language, one world government. And just to put it this way, China's not our friend. China can't be trusted at this point in time, especially for allowing the COVID-19 business to get out of hand. It's not the United States' fault. That's China's fault. But there's a theory that, well, Hong Kong was part of the British Isle for like 100 years, and now China regained control of it, and the people are so rebellious, and China is trying to silence all the protesters, and so I think that they purposely made this possible so that they could kill everybody off. And there's theories floating around, just as a disclaimer, they may not be accurate, but I'll state them anyway. Supposedly, people have been disappearing in China that have been documenting what's been going on in the government and the police. And all of a sudden, you hear that these people, there's no trace of them, or they never existed. And I'm thinking, there's something iffy going on there. That's not normal just to see somebody one day and all of a sudden there's no record of them anywhere ever existing. So the government's got their hand in a lot of what's going on, and or that the government was burning people alive in body bags in a pit in the middle of nowhere or something. I don't really know if that's true or not, but I've seen there's videos on YouTube. But in this day and age, anything is possible. They're not going to. Everything that you see on the main news, 9 times out of 10, it's a watered down version of what's really going on. It's just a censored version. It's not. You're not gaining any information. They're just telling what they want you to know. They don't want to tell you what's really going on. They just tell you what they want you to believe in. And even a lot of stations stop watching the news. Check on it on occasion, but don't sit and watch it 24/7, because it's not only is it demoralizing, but it's kind of depressing, and it's just something that you can't let your life be put on hold because of the news. You can't live in fear. There's much more to life than sitting in a corner all day crying and wailing and screaming and moaning and groaning over this. And those people that you run into in the stores where they're getting all frantic and all worked up, you're not going to get sick just by going out in public. You're not going to get sick if you don't wear a mask. If you really truly believe in Jesus Christ, you will not get sick and you'll not get any ailments. But you have to truly believe in Him. You can't step out on faith. You have to obey all His rules and commandments. But if you're a real believer, you will not, and you believe in His spiritual healing, you will be spared. But those that step out of faith and those that are consumed in fear, they will perish. Those that live in sin will perish. And there's a lot of pastors and churches that would say the same thing. But unfortunately, the government won't let anybody get together. The government won't let you have any church services because like I said this already, but it's considered a non-necessity. But if the government could have it their way, there would be no church anywhere. And you got to put a rebelliousness on that and fight it, because if you don't fight it, you're going to lose it. And basically, another thing that the government was secretly trying to do is they're trying to make it so you get agitated, you get disorientated, you get that you just give up on faith and give up on God. And those that say that God is dead, those people are blasphemy to God. I don't care what they tell you. You know, they claim that God doesn't exist. Well, he does. And you watch out because he could come at any time. And if you mess with him or you get in his way, he will rebuke. So stay in faith. Don't disobey God. It's I know it's not easy living in hard times like this, especially when you got people that are surrounding you and trying to put negative thoughts and feelings in you, making you lose hope and all that. But the best thing you can do is spread the word. Do some research on the internet. Look up the information from Rockefeller. Watch some Gabe the Street Preacher. Watch some. Let me go back to that link. Go to the Revival Ministries International. Watch some Dr. All right, let's see here. Contact. Let's see here. Maybe I can find. All right. So it's Dr. Howard, or it's Rodney Howard Brown, or the way he spells is Browne. So that, I think that will be a better. You have a better chance of finding him on YouTube with that correct spelling. So to verify, I will go to YouTube real quick. And we'll go to
Microsoft.
So, and basically a lot of content that he has on YouTube is basically like a video conference, and sometimes you're lucky if you're live because you can actually sit and talk to him and comment and stuff. And he has a lot of interesting insight into what's going on, and he's even written some very good books. I would suggest getting yourself a copy of some of his books and reading what he has to offer. And if you're really looking for good, I know some of this is, let's see, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I would start off with, I would watch the Great Awakening show live, The Stand, 4 Kinds of Miracles, About the Future, House Arrest, Wednesday Night Live, End of Days, Passover, There's Not a Cause. I would watch all the parts. And basically, I would advise to actually just watch. If I were you, just watch every video that he's ever made. I guarantee that it'll change your mindset instantaneously once you start watching. So on that note, I hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. Stay safe. God bless you all. Keep the faith. Spread the word. Stay positive. Don't let people bring you down. And just one more thing. Even though that the governor of New York said in one newscast that God's not to have the credit, that's the doctors and nurses. But that's all, or basically what he said was all blasphemy. God is the one that can pull miracles off. It's not your doctors, it's not your medical people, it's not your damn pharmaceutical companies that are the miracle workers here. It's God. You have to glorify God, not worshiping your medical doctors and your hospitals and pharmaceutical companies. They're not the people that deserve the glory. They're the people that are living in sin, and they're the Antichrist along with the government, and it's one big conspiracy. So I credit God as the driving force on miracles, and anybody that speaks blasphemy, say God doesn't exist or it's God is dead. You can't follow their examples. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. You have to. You got to wake up. You got to open your eyes. You got to repent. And once you surrender to Jesus Christ, it's a wonderful feeling being in good terms with God, and basically all you gotta do is open your heart to God, pray to God, worship with God, spend time with Him daily, and your purpose in life will be more fulfilling than it is without any form of religion in your life. To go day to day without religion, or especially in hard times like these, you don't really have a purpose to live. But if you have a church to go to and you have a mission of getting closer to God and a spiritual level, you have more. You got more to live for. Even though that you may never be able to find, for all the single people out there, you may never be able to find a husband or a wife, or you may never find a girlfriend or boyfriend, or you may never have those opportunities. But for those that are single, you're not really totally alone. For all those people out there, even though you think you're alone, but you're not really alone. God is everywhere, and you can really have a wonderful relationship with God. You can really grow, and the more religious you become a better person, and that. So on that note, we'll be back again tomorrow. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I know that the stream wasn't perfect, and things don't always pan out the way I plan them. But hey, you gotta You got to give it your best. You can't give up on things. So take care.